If you have or are thinking about having a podcast, you might be wondering about show notes. So do you know what show notes are? Do they matter? Do you need to have them? And what needs to go in them? If that's where you're at, this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Livy. I help entrepreneurs amplify their message and be found by their dream clients to create the impact and the life they want. Hey, my name is Olivia D'Souza. I'm dedicated to helping multi-passionate entrepreneurs turn their dreams into reality by building a career and a life they love and making a positive impact in the world. I'm a podcast and social media manager, a singer-songwriter, a kids music creator, a fadishta, a wife and a mum. I'm the secret weapon behind many 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs, helping them shine a light and call in the people they are here to serve. And now I'm here to help you. This podcast is here to help you learn and be inspired. You'll learn about podcasting, lead generation, business, and all about the real life stories of people behind the businesses just like you. Think of it as a place to hang out with your like-minded business bestie who gets what it's like. So grab a cuppa and hit subscribe so we can hang out again. This is Magnetic Pod, the podcast.
I am here and I'm ready to be brave. Cannot miss me, I'll stand on every stage. I'm available for my destiny to reach my people. Gonna be a star, so if you pass on.
Hey friend, before we dive into today's episode, remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the tips we share in Magnetic Pod on podcasting, lead generation, and business boosting ideas. And remember, if you have or you're thinking about starting a podcast, head over to my website at livymusicmedia.com/freebies. I have loads and loads of free resources and templates that will help you get started. The link is in my show notes. Now, here's your show. So before I get into it, remember to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the tips and tricks on how to podcast and create lead generation strategies for your business. Okay, let's get into it. I am always amazed when I come across podcasts that put hardly anything, if anything, in their show notes when it is one of the major reasons to have a podcast. In my view, if you have a podcast, then you definitely need to be using your show notes. I mean, the reason you have a podcast is because you want to get your message out in some way and you want to reach people. So you want to create connections, right? So why not make it easy for people to connect with you by putting the information in your show notes? You can let people know in your show notes what it's all about so they know straight away, oh, this is the information I'm looking for, and they can listen. It's also important for SEO benefits because in describing what the podcast is about, you will use words that people may search that will help them to find your podcast episode in the first place. And there are just missed opportunities in not using your show notes. It helps you build your email list. It helps you send people to wherever it is that you want them to go. It helps you to make money. So how do you let people know that the podcast episode is for them? Well, first of all, you start with the hook, something that stops people in their tracks. Well, addressing a problem that they are facing, addressing something that matters to them. Who are you making the podcast for? Presumably, the people that I create podcasts for, that I help, are doing it because they want to make a difference in the world. So what difference are you trying to make? What problems or hopes or desires do the people that you are here to help? Mention that straight up in the beginning of your episode. And you can let them know in your show notes that you will address that problem, solve it, and provide 3 main points or 5 main points or whatever it is in how to solve that problem. So basically, I would usually go hook, a bit more explanation about the kind of help that you're going to provide in solving the original problem you mentioned in the hook, and then in point form, I'll just list the kind of things that are covered in the episode. So if you're listening to this on the go, don't worry, I've got you. You can go to the show notes and you can download a template for how to write your show notes. And see, that right there is another reason to have show notes, because you can mention things. You can mention helpful downloads that you've got and send people to your show notes. Make it easy for the listener to get anything that you've got to offer. Now, I would genuinely love to help the the person listening to this or watching this to get the help they need. But giving you that also helps me to stay in touch with you, because to get the download, you're just going to go to a little form, put in your email address and your name, and bang, you get the template on how to write your show notes. But also, I get to keep in touch with you. I get to build my email list, and that's what it's about, right? And also, if you have guests, then you also get to put their contact details. The other thing you can do is you can monetize by having show notes. You can mention things that you use, and you are building an audience of people who know, like, and trust you. And then you can mention resources that you use, and you can use your affiliate links in that. Or you might have a guest who's on your podcast that promotes a book. You can create your own Amazon link that's yours, and then if they go ahead and buy the book, you get a little something out of it. So that's another reason to have show notes. Basically, if you're going to go into the effort of making a podcast or even a YouTube or whatever, I think a lot of people do it out of passion, but they also want to make money, and they also want it to make sense for their business and to help grow their business. So it makes no sense to waste the show notes. Funnel those people somewhere. If people are listening, make it easy for them. If they're building a relationship with you, a lot of people would love to connect with you further. So I have looked at people's show notes and been amazed that I've had to really work hard to find out how to actually reach the person. Where's their business website? I have looked at show notes that don't actually tell me, and I go Googling and then trying to find them on LinkedIn and then finally finding out how to find their website. But make it easy. Make it easy for people. The only reason I've found people sometimes is because I've somehow had a background knowledge and knew that they had a business and had to go off searching to find it. A lot of people, if they just found you through your podcast and you're not telling them what your business website address is, then why are you making the podcast? Show notes let people know why they should listen to your podcast episode. Now, it's different to the podcast description. I've seen people write a whole description about the podcast and then eventually get to describing what the episode is about. Don't do that. Your podcast description is a separate area, but if people are looking at the episode, they want to know what that episode is about, and then may not scroll all the way down to see the bit where you finally discuss what's in the episode. So as quickly as you can, get to the point about what the episode is about, who it's for, what problem it solves, and why they should listen, and list the kind of things that are discussed in there so that they know it's worth clicking on and that you attract the people that you made that podcast for. Remember, I've got my template that I use when I do show notes for people. If you want help with it and you just want to make your content and move on, which I think is a really entrepreneurial and a good way to run a business, because doing everything doesn't make sense. What did you go into business for? So if you want to offload the process, record your podcast and just leave it with someone like me, you can totally do that, and I can take care of the whole process, including repurposing for social media and all sorts of things. So that's another option. So reach out to me. My details are, guess where? In the show notes. Okay, so that's all for today. Let me know if you've got any questions. You can reach out to me on Instagram or by LinkedIn or by email. I don't care how you do it, just reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And let me know if you've got any other questions about podcasting or lead generation or YouTube. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
So, what were your key takeaways from today? Did it raise any questions? What would you like to know more about? Let me know. You can contact me via social media or email. I don't care which way you use, just reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. And remember, you can get access to lots of free podcast resources that will help you get started or help you improve your podcast at livymusicmedia.com/freebies. Hit subscribe because I want to see you again. But for now, go forth, be the awesome person you are, live the life you want to live, and have fun. You've got this. See you next time.
Show them who I be, unavoidable everywhere you see me. Reach my people, claim my power. There's no hierarchy. It is me and the universe, baby. Rock solid and so ready to reach my people.
Hello
Hello, it's Livy here. Have you ever wondered about what the key elements are that make a podcast truly stand out? Or maybe you're thinking about starting your own special podcast and feel a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Well, I have something for you. Introducing the ultimate podcast checklist. Da, 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 da. It's a step-by-step guide that covers everything from the initial brainstorming to advanced growth strategies. It's the perfect companion for both new and seasoned podcasters. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Da, 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 da. To grab your copy, simply head to the show notes of this episode and you will find a direct link there, and then away you go. Remember, every podcast started with that initial spark and the right resource, so let the ultimate podcasting checklist be yours.